Colin Kaepernick wins Amnesty International's highest honor. Well, that is good news. And I've fought the fight, I mean, on this, and I'm sure you all have, and we've read what other people have to say about taking a knee and, oh, Jesus, the rhetoric and the way that they spun it to make themselves believe that it's a bad thing. Just because you're white and you don't know what it's like to be scared of getting shot by a police officer doesn't mean that taking a knee is somehow anti-American. So, it's very frustrating. I love Colin Kaepernick to pieces. I just think he is incredible. So, it's the global human rights organizations. Colin Kaepernick may not have a job on the football field, and that is ridiculous. Colin Kaepernick may not have a job on the football field, but much of the world is still cheering for him. Amnesty International, the global human rights organization, gave Kaepernick its highest honor, the 2018 Ambassador of Conscience Award in Amsterdam on Saturday. Past winners of the award, which celebrates individuals and groups who speak out for justice, include South African President Nelson Mandela, Malala Yousafzai. Okay, I'm sorry. I cannot pronounce her last name properly. Malala Yousafzai, the education activist from Pakistan who survived an assassination attempt by the Taliban, and you too. So the organization recognized Kaepernick for his protests against police violence. His action kneeling during the national anthem before the NFL games sparked a movement replicated across America and the world, starting a debate about free speech and patriotism that was inflamed by the President of the United States, one of Kaepernick's most relentless critics. Of course. Amnesty International said, when high-profile people choose to take a stand for human rights, it emboldens others. For us, this is an opportunity to be on the right side of history. Well, I agree, and that is incredible. And for anyone who has pull, influence, actors, actresses, models, musicians, sports figures, I feel like, so many people stay silent because they're afraid to lose their jobs, they're afraid to lose their fans, they're protecting themselves. And, with Colin Kaepernick, he did it. And now he's not playing anymore. So what kind of a message does that send to everyone else? That they might be right, that they might lose their career, they might lose their fans. So, it's something that I would do for sure if I was famous. And I'm grateful every day for those people who do, because they have such an influence on their followers. So Colin Kaepernick took the chance. He won and he lost. This is what he said. This is an award I shall share with all the countless people throughout the world combating the human rights violations of police officers throughout the world. And that is a huge point to make right there. It's not just in the United States. It is throughout the world. This man is standing up for everyone who suffers at the hands of authorities. And that's everywhere. And it's very scary. And this is like, how would I know, right? Right. So if I can say it's really scary, what is it like for those people who actually, I went across the border once. They found out I was going to a protest and they held me in a cop car for like an hour. And that was the closest I've ever gotten to anything like, a run-in with the cops. And it was really, really sobering to see that they had the right to hold me and not let me go. That I couldn't leave if I wanted. For what? I did nothing. That they took away my freedom because they have a badge and a gun, that they told me what to do and when to do it. They have a lot of power is what my point is. And it's very scary when people who have that kind of power have something against another race, another religion, who misuse that power. So not only do police officers have to be held accountable for their actions, which they're not being, but I mean, police vetting and those who are allowed to become police officers, I mean, that needs to be a little stricter as well. You can't be hiring racist police officers. You can't be hiring homophobic police officers. Yet, clearly, they are. Back to it, Kaepernick said in a statement, to quote Malcolm X, when he said that he will join in with anyone, I don't care what color you are, as long as you want to change this miserable condition that exists on this earth. I'm here to join with you all in this battle against police violence. His former teammate, Eric Reed, who knelt in solidarity with Kaepernick during the anthem, he remains unsigned as a free agent this NFL offseason. The protests have likely cost Kaepernick his playing career. He has filed a collusion suit against the NFL. And this week, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell will depose in the case. So that's good. Good for him. In November, Kaepernick was a winner of the Muhammad Ali Legacy Award. And in December, the ACLU gave him the Eason Monroe Courageous Advocate Award. And now with the Amnesty International and Global Group has recognized him. So last quote, people have a choice in their everyday lives whether to act on their conscience or carry on as usual. This is from the Amnesty International. We rely on people like Colin when they feel like they simply cannot be silenced to speak out and inspire huge numbers of people despite the professional and personal risks. So good. I'm glad he's being honored. And the whole rhetoric about it being anti-American to take a knee, who is it coming from? It's coming from people who don't have to worry about police brutality, more or less. It's coming from people who don't have to worry about their children. I was covering a Black Lives Matters rally in downtown Buffalo, and I spoke to this woman, and she said that her son was 12 and he walks to and from school, and she said she tells him and she reminds him all the time, if you're walking home from school and you see cops, you look at the ground. You don't make eye contact. You look at the ground. So for those people who say that taking a knee is unpatriotic, I suppose you don't have to tell your children when they walk to school and they see a cop to look at the ground. And if you are safe in your little home in the suburbs and you know that this is happening and you turn a blind eye to it, and then you go to church on Sundays and you talk about loving everyone and you donate to charity, but then you say people like Colin Kaepernick, who are trying to draw attention to police violence in this country, are unpatriotic. So I'm sorry, the hypocrisy is frustrating. Let me read you some quick stats on police violence in this country. If you think it doesn't exist, it surely does. Mother Jones, in Oakland, California, the NAACP reported that out of 45 officer-involved shootings in the city between 2004 and 2008, 37 of those shot were Black. Okay? Out of 45 of the people shot by officers, 37 were Black. None were white. None were white. 1/3 of the shootings resulted in fatalities, although weapons were not found on 40% of the cases. No officers were charged. No officers were charged. Okay? What does that stat tell you? Right there. 97% of the cases of police brutality that were tracked in 2015 did not result in any officer involved being charged with a crime. And that's what people are asking for. Accountability. Accountability. 90% of the cases of police brutality that were tracked in 2015 did not result in any officer involved being charged with a hate crime. On an average in the United States, a police officer takes a life of a citizen once every 7 hours. In 17% of the 100 largest cities in the United States, police officers killed African American men at a higher rate than the U.S. murder rate of 2014. Hell yes, people should be taking a knee, because this is insane. This is wrong. This is violent. This is murder. This needs to change. This needs to stop. 27% of the police killings in the United States from 2013 to 2016 were committed by police departments in the 100 largest cities in the country. 69% of the victims of police brutality in the United States who are African American were suspected of a non-violent crime and were unarmed. 69% were suspected of a non-violent crime and were unarmed and still suffered police brutality. So, yes, there needs to be attention drawn to this. Yes, there does need to be change. And I just can't understand how people, just because it's not happening to them, could be so vocal and verbal condemning someone who's trying to draw attention to it. Because if it was happening to them, and if it was happening to their children, they would be taking a knee too.